Hello guys, thank you for stopping by. Today I am cooking for you my rendition of Cheesecake Factory's spicy chipotle chicken pasta dish. So I make mine low carb friendly, but I do have the original copycat recipe I use as a guide linked down below. So go check that out if you are interested in the pasta version. The ingredients you'll need for this recipe are boneless, skinless chicken breast, 3 bell peppers, 2 medium onions, 2 asparagus, minced garlic, adobo peppers and sauce, heavy cream, parm cheese, lemon juice, olive oil, honey, peas, and butter. So the first thing that we need to prep for everything is just dicing up the peppers and onions. I am no chef. I'm sure my cutting skills could use some work, but it works for me for my everyday needs. So I'm starting by de-seeding the peppers and cutting around the core. I cut them julienne style and then diced them. So for this recipe, you want everything to be bite-sized. Continue this with the yellow and orange peppers, then place them in a medium-sized bowl and set aside. So I love this recipe. I was determined to find a copycat because every time I would go to Cheesecake, I fell in love with the dish. It's so different and fresh ingredients and fills you up, and I knew I could make it my own style. And then I finally realized that I could also make it low carb because we do eat typically more low carb in my house or whole grain. And I really wanted to find a good way to substitute pasta by doubling the amount of vegetables I use. So you'll notice if you look at the actual recipe, there's a lot less vegetables than what I use because there's more pasta. I pretty much double to triple everything because I have 5 to 6 people in my family and I do a lot of prep. So I'll make a big batch like I am today and I will just freeze it, and then I'll bring out a bowl when I'm feeling like I need some lunch for work, or if we want a really fast, easy dinner, I'll get out a bowl or a container and we will have that for the next meal. Also, you could use green peppers. However, the flavor of the tricolor gives a much richer taste as well as gives a lot more beautiful color, because you'll see later on we add asparagus and peas to get that green color. So I want the balance with the beautiful orange and yellow and red, bright, vibrant colors. So moving on to the onions, an easy way to dice them is to cross cut. What I mean by that is first you have to deshell them, of course, but cut them in half, then cut across the onion half horizontally. Then make slits vertically down the onion. Then cut as if you were slicing the onions. It's a little hard to explain. Just watch it again if you need to. And then place the onions in the same bowl as the diced peppers. I'm sure there's quite a few videos out on YouTube how to cut onions, so check those out too if need be. Again, I'm not a professional, just the best way that I know how. Next, chop the asparagus. So I discard the ends just to ensure that there's no gross, hard, woody bits, and then I cut them into bite-sized pieces. I'm using the rubber bands as a guide. I've actually never done this before. I can't believe I've never thought of this before, but it really, really helped to keep everything in place. I place the cut asparagus into a colander to be rinsed before boiling, and it just made the whole process a lot easier and faster, cleaner. And again, bite-sized pieces because I am pretty much turning mine into a soup. So bite-sized is a lot better. Next is the chicken. So I decided to cook 3 medium to large sized boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I started by cleaning the breast and discarding any fat or bad spots. So anytime I saw anything white, any bad spots, any gross rubbery areas, I cleaned them up really, really nicely. I've had way too many bad experiences with chicken, so I clean them up really well and tenderize them to make sure I've done everything I can before cooking. It might look wasteful to you, but I'm telling you, when you've had bad experiences with chicken, you'd do the same. All right, and as you can see here, I'm just cutting them into bite-sized pieces, and then I'm placing them into a bowl. And in that bowl, I'm going to add lemon juice, salt, and pepper. I don't really measure those things out. I kind of just eyeball them, but I'm going to let that marinate in the fridge for about 10 minutes. You could also let this marinate overnight to get it just more tender and flavorful, but I just did it for 10 minutes while the next step is sauteing the vegetables. So I'm heating 3 tablespoons of butter over a medium-high heat, and I'm going to saute the pepper and onion mixture until they're translucent, which pretty much means they're just going to get lighter in color. That's what we're looking for. Once they do, I'm going to add some minced garlic and saute all of those things for another 3 minutes or so, just really allowing everything to cook together, blend together. Everyone's flavors are blending. It's just going to make it taste way better in the end. And then after that's done, I'm going to place it back into the bowl and set aside, allow it to cool. It's okay if it does. So then I'm going to add water to the pan to boil the asparagus. I'm going to boil the asparagus for 3 to 5 minutes, drain it, blast it with some cold water to stop the cooking, and set aside in another bowl. I would typically do this in multiple different pans, but that was not an option today. Just with cooking and trying to film it was a little bit more interesting. But now I just added about 3 to 4 tablespoons of oil to the saucepan to cook the chicken. I would say the chicken cooked for about 15 to 20 minutes. I really allowed it to get nice and golden brown and crispy. Now I'm adding my honey. We're going to sweeten up the chicken. I added about a 1/4 cup of honey. After that cooks for a little bit, I'm going to add the pepper, onion, garlic mixture into the pan, allowing that to cook. And this is when you want all of your other ingredients. So the adobo peppers, I just chopped them really thin, added the sauce, added some heavy cream. Again, I will leave the measurements that I used down below. I used about 2 cups of heavy cream here, but I will be using more later, and I probably used another cup. I'm adding 16 ounces of Parm cheese. I know that sounds like a lot, but I promise it was needed for this. And now I'm just taste testing, adding the asparagus, mixing everything together. You wouldn't be a good cook if you're not taste testing. Just don't double dip, of course. And you see how everything is getting really, really thick. We're losing that kind of soupy texture. This is when I added more heavy cream. Now we're adding the peas. I typically use frozen, but I had to use canned today. It did not make a difference. And I'm just tasting it again. Added more honey. I added probably 5 tablespoons of honey here because it just was not very sweet. And not that you want it to be overpoweringly sweet, but you still want it a little sweeter. And now it is time to serve it up. Ugh, this stuff is so good. I hope you guys try it out. Let me know what you think. It is my favorite meal. My parents love it. I love making it for other people. My friends enjoy it. It's one of my favorites. I hope you guys try it out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah! Bye.